We have a problem, Batman. Gotham needs you again.
You sit calmly as if conviction itself is a shield. Most men I question, shift, avoid, deny. You don't. That tells me your ideology is not armor, it's marrow. You believe it justifies everything.
Of course. What is a man without belief? Flesh, nerves, appetites. Nothing more than an animal gnawing at the edges of existence. Ideology is the spine that separates us from beasts. Mine is forged in clarity. The strong lead, the weak obey, or the world collapses under the chaos of mediocrity. You call it monstrous, I call it necessary. Conviction does not tremble in the presence of judgment. It does not need to.
Conviction is only impressive if it's tethered to truth. Strip away the rhetoric and your ideology is built on hierarchy, not necessity. You assume order requires domination. Why does the existence of the weak threaten you so much that you demand their subjugation?
Because weakness spreads like infection. Allow it to dictate morality, and soon the strong bend in to accommodate the frail, the incompetent, the sentimental. Compassion is the mechanism by which civilizations rot. Look at history. Every empire that fell did so because it coddled rather than commanded. I do not hate the weak, Batman. I despise the worship of them. Power should be revered, not shackled by pity. My ideology is not hatred, it is preservation.
Preservation by erasure is not preservation. It's control disguised as destiny. You speak as though might creates morality. But if morality is reduced to the survival of the strongest, what separates you from the beast you condemn?
Choice? Beasts devour blindly. I devour with intention. You mistake my doctrine for chaos. But it is the opposite. By enthroning strength, I refine existence itself. The weak are not slaughtered without reason. They are organized, assigned place, contained within the structure. The strong create. My morality is not absent, it is crystalline. Justice is the triumph of will. Of Vedas and dank and will belongs to those who can enforce it. That is not chaos, that is order purified.
Order purified is simply order sterilized. Strip too much away, and what you call civilization becomes a graveyard of obedience. Isn't the very resistance of the weak what you call infection? The thing that forces the strong to sharpen, to grow.
Resistance sharpens, yes, but only when it is worthy. Petulance, rebellion born of envy. Those are not worthy struggles, they are noise. The strong sharpen against worthy rivals, not the endless cries of the unfit demanding equality. The weak teach nothing except how much patience the strong can afford. I do not fear resistance. I demand it. I demand it from those who deserve to challenge, but most do not. And their resistance is not evolution. It is pollution.
You categorize lives into worthy and unworthy, as if you are an arbiter of existence. What gives you the right to decide which struggle counts and which does not? Or is the truth simpler? You cannot tolerate anything that interrupts your control.
Every system has arbiters. Judges decide fates. Leaders decide wars. Parents decide futures for children. To exist in society is to live under someone's decision. The difference is that I do not veil it in illusions of fairness. My right comes from my capacity. Those with vision and strength naturally decide for those who have neither. It is not theft of their freedom, it is recognition of their limits. Control, as you call it, is not tyranny. It is clarity in the fog of delusion.
Clarity that denies choice is still delusion. You say limits are natural, but how often are they imposed by systems like yours? You create the very weakness you despise, then condemn it. Doesn't that make your ideology self-fulfilling?
Weakness cannot be created. It reveals itself. You could strip away every chain, every law, every system, and still most would crawl rather than climb. Do not romanticize humanity, Batman. You of all men should know its appetite for submission. Systems like mine do not invent weakness, they expose it. They separate the wolves from the herd. And, yes, once exposed, weakness is contained, directed, put to use. That is not self-fulfilling. It is efficient.
Efficiency at the cost of humanity is hollow. A machine can function efficiently, but it has no soul. You speak of empire, hierarchy, obedience. But tell me, when everything is ordered under your clarity, what's left of the human spirit?
The human spirit is not some sacred flame. It is a wildfire, uncontrolled, destructive. Left unchecked, it burns itself out in excess, decadence, corruption. Under order, that same fire is directed. It illuminates. It fuels progress. The human spirit is a resource, not a mystery. If it must be bent, guided, even broken to prevent it from consuming itself, then so be it. Freedom worships the individual. I worship survival. Survival endures where spirit alone collapses.
Survival without spirit is mere existence. You chase permanence but drain meaning from it. You would rule a world that survives. But what is survival worth if all that's left is submission to your will?
Survival is the only foundation on which meaning can exist. A corpse does not dream, does not create, does not ribble. I will accept a world that submits if it means that world continues, and perhaps, in the quiet of order, new meaning will arise. But chaos births nothing but graves. You ask me why I demand obedience. I ask you, what is freedom worth if it destroys the very world in which it resides?
Then you've answered your own question. You don't build futures. You preserve cages.
And cages, Batman, are the only reason the beasts do not tear each other apart.